My name is Adam Williamson. I'm an artist. I'm interested in decorative patterns, and I'm also a carver, so I apply these patterns to stone and wood. So last week we worked on a fourfold pattern, a repeat that's found commonly all across Morocco and southern Spain and other parts of the world too. Today we're going to look at sixfold symmetry. So we're going to start by drawing circles and divide them up in six. Circles are naturally sixy. It's the first division they'll make. But we're going to start off in the same format by drawing a horizontal line and then circles either side of the central circle. So I hope that you have a hard pencil. So that's like an HB pencil, a ruler, and a compass. That's all we need for now. And then for the latter stage of the pattern, you can use a soft pencil like a 3B or a colored pencil, and we can pick out the final design, or you could even use a pen. Just so that it's easier for you to see what I'm drawing, I'm going to use a pen throughout, but I would recommend using a pencil so that you could erase you won't need to erase, don't worry. Okay, so let's start with a horizontal line. So if you're working A3 and in landscape orientation, I would measure from either side. You can just measure 15 centimeters down. It's not going to reach quite the edges. So as long as you're almost halfway. So I'm measuring 15 centimeters down, drawing in a horizontal line. And then we need to find the very center of the horizontal line. Let's find the center of that. 20. So at this stage, you need a horizontal line and a dot in the very center of the horizontal line. Okay, I would like you, please, to adjust your radius to a 4 centimeter gap between the point and the pencil. So 4 centimeters. The only reason I'm giving measurements is so that the pattern fits on the page. Otherwise, apart from the trammel line for the weave, the pattern's going to be self-evolving. So each time we draw a series of lines, we'll get intersections, which will give us the next stage, give us clues. So 4 centimeter radius will mean that our design fits nicely on the page. Okay, now let's draw our first circle. So you need to make sure the pencil fits, the point of the compass fits right on that central dot. And then when you're drawing circles, you just want to lean the compass in the direction of travel. So if you're rotating clockwise, you're just leaning the compass and dragging the pencil around into a circle. All right, and then without changing the radius, you're going to place the compass where that circle crosses the horizontal line and draw another circle. Okay, so I've indicated in red the intersections where you're going to place the compass point to draw the second 2 circles. So once you have those 3 circles, we're still not changing the radius. We're going to place our compass point where those circles cross. So we have 4 marks. We're going to draw 4 circles. So each time that circle should pass through the center. If it doesn't, then something's wrong and your compass radius has shifted. Okay, so we have 6 circles around the first. This is, in America, it's known as the seed of life. The semantic tradition, it's called the creation diagram in antiquity. So you have these points to line up with, your vertical line. Also, we can draw in the other radial lines. So using the other larger petals. And let's just draw this the whole length of your ruler. So drawing in the radial lines. And just, you want to extend them right out as far as your ruler will allow you so that we can use them for the outer circles. Okay, then we can use these smaller petals to draw in the other radial lines. We already have the horizontal. Again, extend the lines right out to the edge of your page if possible. Wrong pen. Let's go for this one. So these are the other radial lines putting in now. Try to be as accurate as possible. That should go without saying. So the drawing, as it progresses, will all marry up. What we need to do now is highlight where the radial lines cross the circles. So these points here, I'm just going to put a little mark on them. These 6 points, we're going to place the compass to draw our next ring of 6 circles. Okay, so we're going to put 6 circles around. Your radius should not have changed. If your radius if you feel like your radius has moved, go back to one of the original circles you've drawn rather than the ruler. It will be more accurate. And you should find these circles tangent those radial lines and the very first circle. Okay, now we're going to use, again, that same line, but right on the outer extremity of our design, we're going to line up our compass. And this time, we're not going to draw in the full petal. We're just going to place our compass point on that mark and make a little dash on the circle. Okay, so little dash on the right and left side so that we've divided up those outer circles into 6. In fact, let's just draw it in, just a curve. You might as well be easier to see if you ever come back. So if you've drawn a dash, that's fine, but I think I'm just going to draw a curve. I'm just drawing a curve inside there. Just means there's some extra construction lines, but sometimes they look nice under the drawing anyhow. All right, so we're going to draw in the star now. Let's clear that. So we're going to use the tips of the petals, but you'll also notice that these lines will line up with those outer marks we've made there. So we'll have extra accuracy with our lines. Okay, so it's always better to have multiple intersections to help us line up. Okay, so I'll draw these in too so you can see them. Differentiate these from the other drawing. Different color maybe. Then we're going to draw the rest of the triangle with the extensions so that we can put in our star. So this time we're using the petal on the left. And then we also have these outer ones too to line up with. Okay, and then let's just, you can see we've created a triangle in the center. Let's just close off the triangles on the outside as well. When you're closing those triangles off, I'd just like you to extend the line until you meet the radial. So we're drawing triangles in the outer circles, but we're extending the lines so that they meet those radial lines. All right. Just going to get in the shot for a second, sorry. Really take the time to make sure that you're lining your ruler up accurately with the crosshairs. Okay, so we have triangles going one way. Now we need to do it going the other way. So let's pick out those indications, those marks. So we have those three remaining petals. I'm going to draw a triangle between those. Again, extending right to the outer circle. If we didn't have those outer intersections and we were just using the petals in the middle, it's quite possible our lines wouldn't be parallel. So it's useful to put those in. So put the outer triangle in as well. Okay, and that will complete your hexagon around the outside. Hopefully they'll line up on the radial lines. Now we can see this as a series of hexagrams. We're going to use these outer intersections out here that I'm marking in blue. Maybe they're not that visible. Let me find something else. Yeah. Wait. Okay, so these points out here, we're going to draw a star between them, so a large star. So you can start by just drawing a triangle in one direction, facing west, and then another one facing east. And you'll notice by doing that, you complete the smaller stars in the outer 6 circles. Okay, so I'm just going to pick out the pattern. We've already drawn the pattern, which is fantastic. Now what we want to do is increase the width so that we can weave the pattern. Okay, so the pattern in white is the sort of skeletal aspect. And in a moment, we're going to draw small circles, which are going to give us a width for our weave. Okay, so can you see we have a series of hexagrams and hexagons? So in between, we've got a star, and then a hexagon, and then a star. All right, if you like, you could even just pick the lines I'm drawing in white out with a colored pencil or something just to highlight it. Lovely. Okay, so that's one pattern, but we can take this a step further. All right, so we're going to need your compasses again for this next part. Okay, so we're going to draw quite a small circle. It's going to be a radius of 8 millimeters. So it's small, 8 millimeter radius. Okay, so this next circle, 8 millimeters. And we're going to draw them on the outer points of our design. So I'm going to put a little indication where they're going to go. So it's going to be 18 of these little guys. 8 millimeters, it's small, right? This is going to be a small trammel line. So this is going to test your compass skills a little because small circles are difficult. For the really small circles, if you want to go pro, it's good to get what we call a drop bow or a pump compass. And those ones you just put the point into the paper and then you can flick the pencil around. But these should be just manageable with the compass radius you have. Also, just make sure, this will really help you, make sure that your pencil lead and point reach the same place, i.e. you don't have your pencil lead longer than the point of your compass. Ooh. They're tricky, aren't they? Make sure the point's thoroughly in and remember to drag the compass around. Once you have all those circles, we're going to use them to draw in parallel lines. So we're going to draw a line either side of the white line. Okay, so line up your ruler so that the line's tangent the small circles, and then you're going to draw a line either side of the white line so that we can increase the width. All right. And as we have the lines there to help us, we don't necessarily have to go about this drawing stars each time. I'm just going to draw all the parallels. So I'll explain that again. We're using the circles to enable us to expand the width of the white line, expand the width of our pattern so that we have a thicker line that we can eventually weave. So I'm just going to draw it in 3 stages, drawing all the parallels in the 3 directions. Okay, so I've done all my verticals. So I'm drawing a line either side of the white line of the composition, using the small circles to create a trammel. So now I'll go in the other 2 directions. On the outer ones, make sure that you extend the line right the way along that edge of the hexagon. Okay. So that's now just for the 3rd direction. Okay, there's a lot of lines. Once you've got them all in, you can start to color in and pick out the pattern. So while you're drawing, I'm just going to do a little bit of coloring in. I'm going to pick out the stars again and the hexagons. So there's different ways you could color this in. You could pick out those beautiful diamonds. You could, but we're going to pick out the weave. So we're going to color in the background and then use those trammel lines to interweave a design. So you've probably got a lot of lines going on now, but once you start coloring and picking out the pattern, it should be quite clear. Those final lines, you can always do them in a colored pencil if it helps, or a soft pencil. Okay, so I'm just going to finish this coloring in, and then I'm going to show you the weave, which really will really bring this pattern out and make it very three-dimensional. But we need the background first to see where our trammel lines begin and end. So I'd recommend just once I finish coloring, taking a screenshot, and then also taking a screenshot of the weave as well, in case you're not totally keeping up. You can just finish it off after the session. Okay, one star left. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is pick out the weave. I'm going to draw it on here first for you so you can see it. Go over, over, in a spiral. So I'm just going to shade this in, but in fact, you guys will be able to erase some of your drawing. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so you guys can erase your overs and unders. I'm just going to put in some shading to try and pick it out for you. Do you have that blender as well? Is there a blender in there? Blend it in a moment. Let's get some more of this weave in. In fact, I could probably just erase it all together for you. Okay, so if you erase these lines, you'll start to see the pattern weaving. Obviously, I can't erase mine, so I'm just doing it on the annotation. So I'm sure you guys can think of some creative ways to color this in your own time. You're not in such a rush to keep up. So the idea of the interlacing the weave is that you just go an over and an under, over, under, over, under, over, under. But if you start from the center and move out and be a little bit more systematic, there's less chance of getting the weave wrong. So along with the shading that I'll do in a moment, you should be able to see the weave clearly. It's called the weave. Let's put some shading in. Ooh, no. That was a mistake. Luckily, I can just erase it on the computer. That never happened. Okay, a few more things to weave, maybe this one. These guys. All right, getting there. I want to finish this example for you. It's getting close. I don't know how you guys are getting on. That's looking pretty funky. It's looking good. Liking this collaboration between the cyber and the real-time drawing. All right, I think this needs my drawing anyhow, like a bit of an outline. Just to close it off. Okay, any more weaving to do on here for you? Almost there, guys. Just gonna get us looking neater. Okay, he's almost there. Now I'm just going to blend it a little bit. Oh, I might try. Is that the lightest one? Yeah. There's only one light one. Okay, I can just get one shade of that on everything. Getting a bit obsessive with my drawing. I'm almost there. Should be a good example for you. These pens are amazing. Actually blend with them. Vigorous. Yeah, so you should be able to get that shading with just a pencil. I'd recommend when you shade, I could do a little demo in the corner here. So if you have an over and an under like this, so you have the over and an under like that, then just don't go against it this way, go against it with the edge of the pencil. Okay, so when you're shading, just lighten the pressure of your pencil as you move along, okay? So go from side to side rather than going at right angle to the edge you're trying to shade underneath. So I'm lightening my pressure of the pencil. Here's a couple of examples. This is the same pattern carved into plaster. So what you do is the outlines, I'll get the chisel. These are the traditional Moroccan chisels that are used for carving plaster. The first thing you do is cut what we call stop cuts, so cut around the design. And it's carving plaster is like carving feta cheese. It's a really enjoyable process, And then you push into the voids, so the hexagons and the stars, and just break away the meat of the composition up to the stop cut. And then you just clean it up, and then you can carve the weave at a late stage. And then this one's just like a cast of another version of this, so that I just cast the plaster at a low level so that you have this, what we call a jali effect, where it's pierced all the way through. So yeah, these are the Moroccan tools. They're quite cute. This is like made from a thimble that holds the tang in place. And the handles are all hand tanned with, they make their own lathe with a bit of a loop around their toe. And thanks for joining, and we'll up the level a little bit more next week. I think we'll probably look at 5-fold. So we've done 4, 6, next week we'll do 5. All right, everyone, thanks for joining.